All right, to start off, happy Saturday, happy Loki's Day. In the immortal words of Kenny Loggins, if you are waiting for a sign, this is it. And yes, someone sent me that video today because I've had a interesting couple of days, my friends. I have been menaced by this shadowy figure, and we were all thinking, maybe it was Freyr because I found out about, the sacrifice of people. No, sometimes we are so fond of our Loki that we forget, the fox is also the wolf. And I had an experience today of this dark, menacing, dangerous presence outside my window. I could definitely tell it was male. I can definitely tell it was challenging me and waiting for me to come out. And of course, courageous warrior that I am, I had to go put on my glitter eyeshadow on that. I was like, yeah, I'll deal with you, but wait. And thinking the gods would have mercy on a fool. And finally, when I was ready, I went out to meet this god. And I look up and I see this star, or maybe a satellite. I don't know. I'm not an astronomer, but it's bright white and it's kind of blinking in the sky, so I'm guessing maybe satellite. But I had asked for a sign, and it was like, this is it. And I came in, and I finished the Magnus Chase, the first novel, and I realized what this is it for. Because I had done yet a little more exploring. And Loki's response to that was to show up in a destructive form and to remind me I can snap you like a toothpick, little human. This is it. This is your sign. Aren't you happy? Aren't you happy you made me come all this way to see you? Because I was trying to think, who likes to scare people, who can be dark and menacing, who is dangerous? Oh, Loki! So, yes, and why he did that was because I've been getting a little sick and tired of the Loki evil, no matter who you are researching. People that have no business speaking about Loki have to shoehorn into their article on their god or goddess that Loki is evil. And I was just foaming at the mouth angry. And Loki reminded me, as he reminded me with this novel. Because in this novel, even though it's supposedly about the title character, Loki plays a huge role. And he plays a role as the adversary to Odin, but he's also a father. He's a father who's lost his children. He is a father who is proud of his current child and who loves her very deeply. But, his child hates him and rebels. I'm thinking that sounds like every Lokean ever. And she wears a hijab. And people that read the novel that were obviously not Lokeans or even pagans were furious and foaming at the mouth. How dare he make a character that wears a hijab? How dare he, have this Muslim character? Well, one, she's not a Muslim, she's a Valkyrie, and she serves Odin. She's loyal to Odin, but yes, she is the daughter of Loki, and yes, that is her cultural background that she wears the hijab. But also, her name means of the lion, and I've been getting cats like crazy. And that made me think. I'm like, who would give me cats but the Lord of Cats? So Loki used his enchantments on me. I know very well he did, and he wanted to prove a point. He wanted to prove who my god was and just what he can do when he decides to work enchantments on people. Because now the idea of me working with Freyr makes no total sense. At the time, it made sense. Like, Freyr was going to come in and be the answer to all of my problems. With Lord Freyr here, everything would make sense. Loki was at atomic levels of I can snap you in half like a toothpick, my dear. But, he did me no harm, which is proof we have a gracious God. And I got the distinct feeling from reading the book that Loki, not only chooses those of us who serve him, and it's not easy serving him because you'll always be seen as a daughter or what have you, of evil, agent of evil. But he also chooses to let those who hate him never see the real Loki. If they want to see evil, if they want to see a god they would not work with, or not draw the runes of, or not make art of, fine. They can see that. And they'll see where it gets them, too. Because Loki's not about to go out of his way, more than likely, to help people that hate him. Now, being Loki, he may very well help somebody just so he can smile and have them in his debt, but more than likely, those are people that are never going to get the honor of working with Loki. And we must remember that it's an honor and a privilege to serve the blood brother of Odin. Those bonds weren't broken, no matter what people that hate him would like to think. And he definitely gives us discipline. And he definitely makes sure that, we're worthy to serve him. And if he has to toughen you up every so often, he's going to. Now, I did not mind Loki being portrayed as evil in this book. I knew the writer was coming from probably either atheistic or Judeo-Christian background, and he obviously is not a Norse scholar by any stretch of the imagination. There were so many details he got wrong, I could have hit him with his own book. But, I'm sure he would cry artistic license and whine and pout. But what amused me was that the people that did not like this novel were lay people that their main problem was that Loki could shapeshift and could gender shift, and that one character wore a hijab, and that all these other things that happened, and the magic of the gods and everything else, and how dare he, and it wasn't a troll review either, how dare he have openly bisexual or gay characters, and how dare he have this, and how dare he have that, and I was like, yes, and I don't think the person was meant to get any message. The gods will give everyone the same tool, and consider this a tool. Shut up, Loki. And you can either get something out of this from the gods, like we can get something from Loki out of this, like, yes, I'm being portrayed as evil, but look what I'm actually doing. I'm setting the balance of the universe. Or you can look at it as just a popular novel, which a lot of people did, or some people saw, the devil in it. They saw all this evil in it, and they saw all these things that they would like to say is everything wrong with the world, like gay people. And you know which finger I will hold up for that. And, the shape-shifting and the gender shifting and everything else. A lot of people don't want to admit the only problem they have in their life is themselves. Wow, I really sound like Loki after reading this novel. But anyhow, I really enjoyed it. Even though he's not portrayed as a good guy, I did enjoy the portrayal of Loki because, yes, he was supposedly evil, but he reminded Magnus that the gods actually don't believe in good and evil. They believe in might makes right, and to be careful and remember that. And so it was a good reminder that the world isn't fair, and terrible things are going to happen, like terrible things happen to Loki, but we can become strong and survive if we choose to. Now, whether or not you believe in Ragnarok, or you believe Loki was bound, or anything else, that's entirely up to you. I know the presence that visited me tonight, I wouldn't care if I was a god. I wouldn't dare try to bond that presence, and that was only the level a human being could deal with. I have no idea what he'd appear like to another god, but I wouldn't be trying to bind that anytime soon. So, it is all up to you how you interpret not only our sacred stories, or stories, you don't have to see them as sacred, but also popular culture, because it's a retelling of a lot of the stories. There's, ironically, the hero goes through Loki's magic eagle ride, and we know how well that worked out for Loki, and it works out about the same as him, so history kind of repeats itself. The stories are kind of repeated and shuffled all around. I don't know if I mentioned it already, but if you like Thor, you may not be pleased with how he's portrayed. He's not exactly the sharpest tool in the shed. in this novel, and that's not cool. Freyr is shown okay. The gods are pretty distant from their children in these novels. Actually, the one that, massive spoiler alert, the one that was always closest to them was the Allfather. So there you go. Well, the Allfather and Loki. So there were the two, gods acting like you would think gods would. Odin and Loki. And I think they're playing two-man grift again is actually what they're doing. But time will tell. I have 2 more novels to make it through. But I just, I wanted to kind of remind you of that because it's a good reminder. It's not easy to serve Loki, and it's not easy to be called by Loki, and a lot of times you'll wonder if you made the right decision, but of course you did, and you really don't get to make the decision anyways. Once Loki wants you, he has you, and there's precious little you can do about it. Okay, so if you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you later. Bye bye.